I'd like to ask our panelists for their key takeaways or their final thoughts. Howard, we heard from you first. Perhaps you want to lead us off by giving some of your key takeaways from today.
Sure. Well, let me pick up actually on the last point that Laura was making. There's a lot of money at stake here, and that attracts attention. It also affects incentives. Topics we haven't even talked about today, like filing of citizens' petitions and the basic bringing of patent litigation, which can raise antitrust issues if alleged to be a sham or with fraud on the patent office, a Walker process claim. But one can't divorce, when you're looking at prices, volumes as well. And I come back to the issue we talked about at the beginning, whether a reverse payment constitutes a large reverse payment. That's not just a question of dollars in an absolute amount, but you have to look at what the dollars is relative to the size of the market. So would we counsel in these areas? It's not just a question of what the price is, but what the dollars are. Real quick, on the topics we've talked about, there is continued government attention on settlements in the patent litigation. As I said, refusals to provide samples, product copying, present, antitrust issues, counseling on those are important. There are good defenses. In many cases, we may see legislation down the pike. M&A is going to continue to be an issue with particular concern about innovation and acquisition of competing pipeline products. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Laura, your takeaways?
Yeah, to just take off on something that you were saying, Howard, about potential legislation. The observation I would make is that because of the complex interplay between patent protection, regulatory protection, free market pricing, and relatively complex payment and reimbursement systems, we are left with very few bright lines, very few clear rules of the road. And that produces its own economic drag, its own costs that arguably could be at least partially avoided with more clarity, both about the regulatory environment and about the case law. So it's my personal belief that we will see more examples of, for example, the California approach trying to legislate some aspects of this problem, and that we ultimately are then going to be layering conflicts between state laws as an added challenge in this space. And I know that the political quest is going to be one for some form of simplification.